In section 3.5, we are solving equations by adding and subtracting, but they have decimals in them. So in number 1, we have c plus 9. So to get rid of the plus 9, we're going to have to subtract 9. And so we have c equals, this is 3.7 minus 9. So the 3.7 is positive, the 9 is negative. So we're going to need to subtract the two numbers to find the difference. We get 5.3, and we are going to keep the sign of the larger one, which is the 9. So we're going to get negative 5.3. Here we're going to subtract 7.6 from both sides, again because it's currently added to the b. So we have 23 minus 7.6. So lining them up, signs are different, so we're going to subtract. 12 minus 7 is 5, so we get 15.4, and the 23 is the positive, which is the larger, so it's going to be positive. On this one, my variable's on the right-hand side, but it has a 17.5 added to that, so I need to subtract. And this one I can just do here because the 43.6 is bigger than the 17.5, so I can do that subtraction in place. And I get 26.1, and it is positive because the 43 is the larger one. Oops. And on this one, I have 6.35 that's currently added to the b, so I need to subtract it. And it is positive, not because this is positive, but because there's no sign showing right here. And so we get b equals, again, the 9.89 is bigger than the 6.35, so I can just subtract in position. And I get 3.54 for that one. Number 7 is a word problem. They ask you to write an equation and solve. The planet Mars takes 599.01 days longer than Mercury to orbit the sun. So I don't know what Mercury's orbit is, but I know Mars takes 599.01 days longer than that. And it tells me Mars does orbit in 686.98 days. So there's my equation. I subtract 599.01 from both sides. And again, since this is bigger than the 599, I can subtract in place. And I get 87.97 days. And this is number 15, so I'm going to jump to number 9, where we now have a subtraction problem. So since it's currently a negative 4.9, I'm going to add 4.9 to both sides. And so they're both positive. I can just add them in place. So they're both positive, so add them and keep the sign. And we get 23.7. In number 10, I'm going to add 19.2 to both sides. Make sure you're lining up those decimals. They're both positive, so I can just add them. If you want to put a decimal and a placeholder 0 there, that's fine. And so I get 43.2 for my C value there. I have Q minus 1.7. I'm going to add 1.7 to both sides. Now on this one, the 2.5 is negative and the 1.7 is positive, so I need to find the difference. So I'm going to subtract. I can do that here because the 2.5 is the bigger number. So I'm going to get 0.8, and I'm going to keep the negative because that's the larger one. So I get negative 0.8. If you looked in the back of the book, they may have a 0 before that decimal just to say, hey, there's a decimal coming, because sometimes the decimal disappears. Number 12 works similarly. This one I cannot do in place because the 5.6 is a smaller number than an 8. So put in a placeholder 0. I get 4, I get 2.4. The 8 is positive. It's the bigger number, so it's a positive 2.4. And then number 13, add 1 to both sides. Again, just make sure you line up your decimal. And we get G equals 5.3. You can put a placeholder 0 and a decimal in there if you want to. Number 15, you are told you spent $13.50 on movie tickets. You now have $26.50. Write and solve an equation to find out how much money you had before buying the tickets. So the amount of money before the tickets was X. You took $13.50 to buy the tickets. So you've lost that amount of money. You are left with $26.50. So there's our equation. Add $13.50 to both sides. And we get X is equal to, let me put that directly underneath it so you can see 0. 5 and 5 is 10. Carry the 1. 10. Carry the 1. You had $40 to begin with. Now, a part of this is writing the equation. This is pre-algebra, not 6th grade math. So we are learning to write equations here. And so, yes, you do need to have the equation.